So you want to start by getting yourself a piece of cardboard. The one I'm using here is a little over 4 inches long. And you want to wrap some red yarn around it about 15 times. And then you'll just cut off the excess yarn. And then cut the bottom of the entire bunch of yarn, just one side, cut it off of the cardboard. And then just set it aside. And then you do the same thing again, but this time using a longer piece of cardboard, so this time the side I'm using is almost 6 inches long. And then you'll do the same thing, just cut the bottom off and lay those pieces out. So then you'll just fold those in half. These are the long ones I'm working with. Fold those in half and tie them off a little bit under the fold. And that's going to form the head of your Santa Claus. So just take a different piece of yarn and tie it off good and tight. You want to be able to see the line in it to make the neck. And so then you just want to spread out the rest of the yarn on the bottom. Spread it out as close to halfway as you can get. And just open those up. And then you'll take the first batch that you did, the shorter batch, and sandwich those in between the two halves. And then just take a piece of yarn and tie that off under the arms that you just put in. Make sure that you don't have any of the arms caught in there, but just tie it off under the arms. So it's starting to look a little bit like an angel now. So what you want to do is just cut off the arms so that they're a little bit shorter. You only want them sticking out just a very little bit from the body. Kind of like that. And so then if you're doing a Mrs. Claus, you can just leave the bottom as a skirt, but if you're doing a Santa Claus, then you just want to split the skirt right down the center so that you get two even width legs. And then you'll just take a separate piece of yarn and tie off the bottom of each of those legs. So then you want to take either a wire brush, or I'm just using a needle here, and you want to basically brush out the arms, and that'll kind of destroy the yarn and make it look fluffier, so you get these little fluffy arms kind of like that. Just gives it a better look, I think. So then take a small circle of material to use as the face. You'll just draw on some facial features. I'm just doing little half moon eyes here and a little red nose. And then you'll just glue that onto the head of your little yarn guy. So then cut 2 red triangles, long triangles, and run a little glue along the outsides of each of them. And then just lay them together. You want to leave the bottom open so you can fit the head in it. And so once that's dry, just put a little bit of glue on the top of your Santa Claus's head, and glue the open end of the hat right onto his head. And so then cut a strip of white fabric and glue that right around the bottom of the hat to give it a brim. He still looks a little weird and creepy at the moment, but he'll get better looking later. And so then cut the feet off so that they're all even, or as even as you can get them. And then cut a long black rectangle, and you just want to glue that onto the bottom of the foot, covering up the ends of the yarn. It's going to represent his boot. If it's too long, you can just cut off the excess. Do that to both feet. And then cut a little bit of white to go right around the top of the boots, and glue that, one strip, around the top of each of the boots. And then take another black strip and go right around his middle, and that'll be his little belt. And then glue a white cotton ball onto the edge of his hat, and a little white fluff or a stretched cotton ball onto his chin for his beard. And so here's the finished one of the little guy that I just made, and here he is with a bunch of his friends. And so you can see on the misses that you can use little bits of scrap fabric to make bonnets and aprons.